Welcome back to Cryptos Are Us. I am George. We're all George. So I'm filming this tonight in my backyard. There's a nice breeze, 70 degrees. It's beautiful out, so spending a little time in my backyard. But, as for Bitcoin and crypto, not a whole lot to talk about, but there are a few things. First of all, we did get a CPI reading this morning, inflation data, that shows that inflation is now coming down. So overall, we had a big drop month to month from May to June. We dropped from 3.3% to 3%, right? That was actually really, really good. So it shows that inflation is going down, right? So tomorrow we'll have another one called PPI inflation. So we'll see how that measures up, but that should also be going down. So everything looked like it was on track. But here's the thing, NASDAQ today decided to sell off. Right after that report, things started coming down. And I just checked, NASDAQ was down over 300 points a day, almost 2%. And big tech like NVIDIA fell down 5%. Tesla fell down almost 9%. And the entire tech sector sold off today. So it was actually weird. It was actually weird because, of course, when inflation, the inflation data, when it's showing that inflation is going down, that gives the okay or the green light for Powell to cut the Fed fund rate, right? And there's a lot of talk about that. Is it going to come in September? Most likely. Is there any chance it could come in June or July, I should say? Right now, it doesn't look like it. We need more, right? Like tomorrow's inflation data needs to show inflation is going down. We need to have a lot more bad economic data that shows the economy has slowed to a crawl or is now reversing in such a big way that Powell has no choice but to cut the Fed fund rate earlier than expected, right? We still have some time. We still have a few weeks left to get all the horrible data. But as of right now, the inflation data from this morning, the CPI, is not enough to push it forward. So right now, it still looks like the rate cut will come in September. But today's sudden turnaround is a surprise. Can't really explain it. Market is just overheated for whatever reason. And it kind of brought Bitcoin down with it. This morning, we started out pretty hot, above 58,000. Looked like we were climbing up. Now we're back down to 57,000, 56,000. It seemed like Bitcoin was dragged down by Wall Street today. I did check the ETF inflow. Without BlackRock's numbers, we're still positive. Fidelity still had a big inflow. Grayscale still selling. But even with Grayscale selling, we're net positive right now. So we'll see the official numbers tomorrow when I cover it. But I think it's still going to be positive. This whole week we had massive ETF inflows. It kind of slowed down yesterday and probably slowed down today. But I still think that it's going to be good. I mean, overall, ETF inflows, I keep talking about it because it does show that the institutions are buying, right? The big money, the whale money, they're loading up right now. That's why I keep talking about it. I don't know if anyone else does, but I think it's important, right? It's one way for us to measure whether or not Wall Street is truly buying or selling, right? Data does not lie. And one thing for certain is BlackRock, they just continue to load up more and more and more. I've hammered on that point for quite some time. They are going all in, guys. If you're still not convinced, just look at the BlackRock ETF and how it just only has inflows and never has outflows. There's something to that. So we'll see. But overall, ETF inflow still positive today, despite the bad market. And as for Germany, they did sell off a little more. It's weird because it looked like Arkham even reported that they sold off like another 200 million. So they were down to like 285 million Bitcoin. But I checked, it went back up to 500 million. So they try to sell a lot. And then I don't know if they're being denied now. I think something's going on because someone told me that it's being speculated that they're trying to sell all this off and they can't. And then the Bitcoin goes back into the hot wallet. It makes no sense. They could just leave it on the exchange and wait for the next day to sell. They don't need to keep transferring in and out. I'm wondering if the exchanges are now like refusing them service or something, right? Because all of a sudden, because after I saw Arkham say that, I checked their wallet, they have about 500 million, which is about like 100 million less than this morning. So they did sell, but they didn't sell near as much because we have large amounts coming back in. Again, it's weird, this whole notion that they can't sell so that they transfer back. They don't need to do that. They can just leave it on their Coinbase account, right? And wait until the next day to sell. They don't have to wait for the next day. They can just sell it tonight. Crypto never closes. So that thing, there's something going on there. I don't know. But, they still have 500 million left to sell, right? We're getting close to the finish line. Once they're done, right? So we just have to wait it out. But the ETFs are inflowing. We still have, of course, MicroStrategy, right? Michael Saylor, he's planning on something. He's going to raise some more money or sell more bonds or something. He's preparing for another big buy. I know it, right? You got MetaPlanet that continues to buy. I was looking at El Salvador. El Salvador continues to add 1 Bitcoin every single day, and they almost have more Bitcoin than what Germany sold, right? It's amazing for such a small country. And you got so many others that are loading up. I covered this morning Binance. They added 40,000 plus Bitcoin to the reserve. That's a whole lot. Where is that coming from? Maybe partly from Germany, maybe partly from Mt. Gox creditors. I don't know. But they have 40,000 plus more Bitcoin in the reserve. And again, that tells you they're loading up, right? Maybe they're loading up because they're preparing for a bull run. Once the bull run comes, a lot of people is going to want Bitcoin. They better have it or they're going to have to pay out of their nose to get more, right? So all I know is this, like right now, it's kind of boring, kind of stagnant, sideways. You could say fearful, right? We're hovering around 57,000. And of course, this is way lower than where we were like in the 60s or 70s, right? But we will get through this. We always do. It's just a matter of waiting it out, right? All the charts, if I had charts to show you, shows you that we are moving according to plan. If you look at previous cycles, this happens. We have many times throughout previous cycles where it's the same thing. It's boring, it's fearful, we have volatility, there's bad news all over the place, and then guess what happens? We finally move past it and we go up and no one remembers. That's just how it is. So I don't know. There's really not much more to say. That's just how the market is right now. Tomorrow will be Friday. We'll have a good stream, and I don't know. I don't know what to expect tomorrow. Hopefully the PPI inflation comes in way lower than expected. I think we also get consumer sentiment tomorrow released. Both of those numbers come in below expectations or exceeds expectations in a good way, then we could get a market rally tomorrow. But not quite sure why. NASDAQ sold off today. Again, just could be a normal profit-taking day. But, yeah, stay strong, my friends. Stay strong. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy this beautiful weather in my backyard. And hopefully you guys do have a nice night also. Not much more to say. Yeah, that's it. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. Have a good one. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.